Good morning, everyone. My name is Likita. Today, the topic of my presentation is all about blockchain technology. Now, I am going to talk about it. Firstly, we'll see what is a blockchain. Secondly, traditional sharing. Thirdly, why we are moving to the distributed network, followed by architecture, working, algorithms, application like smart contract, advantages, disadvantages, finally with conclusion. Firstly, what is a blockchain? Generally, a blockchain is an interconnected nodes with a block associated with all of them. This is a distributed ledger, which means there is no centralized system. So the formal definition of the blockchain is it is an open distributed ledger that can record transactions between two parties efficiently and in a verifiable and permanent way. In this definition, there are some of the keywords which are need to be understood. So the first keyword is open, which means whatever information you are putting inside the blockchain should be accessible to all. And the second one is distributed ledger. A blockchain is a distributed ledger, which means you are keeping a copy of the public transaction with every individual connected within the network. And the third one is efficiently. You need to ensure the efficiency of the information so it can scale up with number of clients in the network. And the next keyword is verifiable. It says that everyone who are there in the network should able to check the validity of the information. And the final one is permanent. Permanent means the information that you are entering inside the blockchain is permanent, or sometimes we call it as tamper proof. Here tamper proof means once we have inserted an information inside a blockchain, you will not be able to change that information or update that information in the future time. So if you want to update that information, we need to insert a new transaction and says that the old transaction is invalid. Coming to the sharing information, if you look into the traditional way of sharing documents, there are two persons, Alice and Bob. Here, Alice wants to share some documents with Bob. Alice will just write down his content inside her own document. So now Alice, whatever Alice wants to write, she will write in her document. Then she will share that document to the Bob. After that, Bob will write his contents on his document and again shares the document to Alice. In this particular architecture, there are some of the disadvantages. The first disadvantage is that Alice and Bob will not be able to simultaneously edit that document. So we have moved with Google Doc. This will allow the both persons to write simultaneously on the document. But with this shared Google Doc document, the problem is that this environment is still centralized. Now a question arises that does centralization is harm? So now we look at some of the problems of centralized system. The main problem of this centralized system is working in a single point of failure, which means if you do not have sufficient bandwidth to load the Google Doc, then we will not be able to edit that particular document. So we have to wait until you are able to connect it to that network. And another one is if the server or your computer crashes, then entire information will get lost. So that we have to back up and load the backup. Only after loading the backup, we will be able to process it further. Due to this reason, we are moving from centralized platform to the distributed platform. Now, when we are moving from a centralized platform to a distributed platform, we basically have three broad categories. One is called centralized architecture, second one is called decentralized architecture, and the third one is called distributed architecture. In case of centralized system, there is a central coordination system and every node connecting to that central system, and whatever information you want to share, then it will be shared by this central system. And under this platform, we are having a disadvantage like it fails, then all of the individual nodes will get automatically disconnected. To this reason, we are moving from centralized system to the decentralized system. In this decentralized system, we have a few systems rather than a single system, and all these coordinate cooperative with each other, and the individual nodes, they are connected to these systems. In this particular architecture, if this particular node fails, then this system can connect to the another individual node. So in this particular decentralized architecture, we have the advantage that it can tolerate any number of failures until the network become disconnected. This architecture actually works on the top of the network because of multiple failures. So here we can see there are multiple systems connected with different individual nodes. In this case, there is a disadvantage like because of multiple simultaneous failure, if the network get partitioned or the network get disconnected, then these individual nodes will not be able to cooperate with each other. So to solve this problem, we have moved to the next architecture called distributed architecture. You do not need any kind of central system, or all the nodes they participate in this computation and share the process with everyone. So this application can share collectively information among themselves. So this is why we are moving from centralized platform to the distributed platform. Next, as we have seen earlier, there is a problem of sharing the document simultaneously in a centralized platform. So this is the ideal solution using blockchain. In a blockchain platform, Alice has her own copy of the document and Bob has his own copy of the document. So this copy belongs to Alice and this copy belongs to the Bob. They can simultaneously write to their own document, and here I have blockchain in between them to ensure the consistency of the information maintained between them, because they are holding the documents individually. This is the main solution to a decentralized problem. Moving on with coming to the architecture of blockchain. It is the simple view of the blockchain architecture. In this, every node maintains a local copy of the blockchain. If you see here, every node is connected with every another node, and this every node is maintaining a local copy of the global datasheet. This can also be called as public ledger. Here the system task is to ensure that all individual copies are consistent with each other. We are calling it as public ledger because it works like a database where it contains all kinds of historical information. Continuing with the topic, some of the contents of a block. As we have seen earlier, there is a block which is stored by every node. This block is called as Genesis block. Here each block stores the following information. Firstly, index. It shows the position of the block in a blockchain. Timestamp. It shows when it was created. And hash. It is a numeric value which uniquely identifies that block. For example, like our fingerprints. Previous hash. This is the hash value which stores the value of previous block, so that every hash is connected with the other hash. Here all blocks are connected in a sequential order, so that whenever there is a change in a hash value, then all the hash values will get affected, so that they can identify there is a change in transaction. Next, data. The data which is stored on the node given by the customer. Nonce. It is a simple number which is used to find a valid hash or not. This is a simple view of a Genesis block. Here Genesis means formation. If you see here, previous hash is equals to 0, which means it is the initial block. And next, timestamp. It was created on 27 July 2017 on 2:30. Coming to the data, welcome to blockchain client, and some other like that. Hash, which represents uniquely a block in a blockchain. Nonce, as you know, it is used to find the valid hash or not. Next, as we have seen, the public ledger means it stores all kind of historical information in a database. So this is a simple example of a public ledger. Here we can see there are 4 persons: Alice, Bob, Eve, and Jane. Here Alice has 100 rupees. This following information is stored with every block of the person. In the another transaction, if you see Alice transfers 50 rupees to the Bob. This transaction is also stored in every block of the person. So here there is an termination condition like if Alice wants to share 80 rupees to Jane, then it cannot be done because she's only left with 50 rupees. So it is an termination condition. Now we will see how a blockchain actually works. This is the complete procedure of the blockchain in a sequential order. Firstly, we'll start with A wants to send money to B. Let us assume A means Alice and B means Bob. So Alice wants to send money to Bob so that it is represented as a block. First, before the transaction, it is represented as a block with a Bitcoin. Next, this block is broadcasted to every node in the network. That is, it is broadcasted to every people connected to the network. Next, this transaction is approved by all the people connected in the network. After the approval, this block will be added as a block in a blockchain. Next, finally, Bob will receive the money from Alice. This is a simple procedure of a blockchain internally. Next, public versus private blockchain. These are the two important types of blockchain. Public blockchain. In this, anyone can participate. It is an open and free software. Example like Bitcoin and Ethereum. If you see, Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. It is a decentralized digital currency without a central bank or a single administrator that can be sent from one user to other user on the peer-to-peer network without the need of any middleman services. Coming to the Ethereum. Ethereum is an open software platform based on blockchain technology that enables developers to build and deploy decentralized applications. Any decentralized application can be deployed in this open source platform. Now moving to the private blockchain. These participants are known and trusted among themselves. They are well known about them. Examples we have IBM Hyperledger project and Coco framework. The main goal of this Hyperledger project is to facilitate the collaboration between businesses, developers, and enterprises in the field of distributed network. Whereas the Coco framework is an open source system that enables the confidential blockchain networks which meets the enterprise requirements. This is the foundation for all blockchain protocols. It components like ledger, node to node, application to node, secure communications, and this also consists of validating nodes. Now, some of the algorithms of blockchain as follows. These are the two main algorithms. First one is proof of work and proof of stake. In proof of work, we select a miner for the next block. That is, the central idea behind this algorithm is to solve a complex mathematical puzzle and easily give out a solution. This mathematical puzzle requires a lot of computational power. So, whenever the puzzle is solved, the people is allocated with a new block to be mined. In this way, the proof of work is organized. Coming to the proof of stake, it is same as proof of work, but the process is quite different. In case of proof of work, a miner is rewarded by a mathematical problems and creating new blocks. Whereas in proof of stake, the creator of a new block should have as many coins as they have. The coins must be high to create a new block. This means that in POS mechanism, there is no block reward. The miner takes the transaction fees. The proof of stake has its own pros and cons, and the complex of the proof of stake is also quite complex. Up to now, we have seen about what is a blockchain, types, algorithms, and so on. Now we will see where it was actually used. Smart contract is one of the main applications of the blockchain. One of the best thing about the blockchain is it is a decentralized system that exists between all the parties and there is no need of any intermediaries. Blockchains have their problems, but they are rated faster, cheaper, and more secure than traditional systems. Blockchain using smart contract can be written on Ethereum blockchain. Contracts can be encoded on any blockchain, but Ethereum is mostly used since it gives unlimited processing capability. As we have seen about Ethereum, it is a public blockchain and open source platform where decentralized applications are deployed. In 1994, Nick Szabo, a legal scholar and cryptographer, realized that this decentralized ledger can be used for contracts. So this is also called as self-executing contract, blockchain contracts, or digital contracts. So in this format, contracts could be converted into the computer code and stored on the system. So these are supervised by the network of computers. Finally, what actually is smart contract mean? Smart contract helps you to exchange money, property, shares, or anything of a value in a transparent, conflict-free way while avoiding the services of any middleman. The best way to describe this technology is to compare with a vending machine. Ordinarily, you would go to a lawyer or a notary, pay them and wait while you get the document. With smart contract, you will simply drop a coin into the vending machine and your document will be dropped into your account. So these also define the rules and penalties as the traditional contract does. Vitalik, a 22-year-old programmer of Ethereum, explained this blockchain using smart contract as it is an asset or currency transferred into a program, and this program runs this code. At some point, it automatically checks the condition and transfers this asset to the people. So this is the main definition given by the programmer of Ethereum. Now, let us see how actually the smart contract works. He is the owner of the house and he wants to buy that house. In middle, there is a smart contract application. In this, it can receive the asset and it can distribute the asset. The process is, it digitizes the land automatically, and clearing and settlement is also automated by the registration using Bitcoin and Ethereum public blockchain. Using this Bitcoin and Ethereum blockchain, we will be able to distribute this asset to the buyer of that house. In this way, the smart contract actually works. Next, let us see some of the features of smart contract. First one, trust. The smart contract can't be lost because trust is the foremost application of any blockchain application. Accuracy. Smart contracts are accurate because the programmer has accurately coded to have them fast execution. Next, speed. Smart contracts have a very speedy software code to automate every task in order to meet the requirements of the user. Next, backup. Every node in the blockchain maintains the ledger as it is easy to back up the data. Next, safety. It makes sure that the assets are secured and effective in the every step. Next, finally, savings. As in the smart contracts, there are no intermediaries between the people, so we automatically save some of the money between the people. Now let us see some of the advantages of the blockchain. Firstly, it is transparency, reduced transaction cost, faster transaction settlements, decentralization. These all are applicable to the smart contract application. There, the transaction costs are reduced because the intermediaries are not present. Faster transaction settlements and decentralization, as there is no concept of centralization in terms of blockchain. Now let us see some disadvantages too. First one, large energy consumption. It is not indestructible. Blockchain is inefficient. Structure is complex. Coming to the large energy consumption. Whenever a Bitcoin is transferred from one person to the another person, it consumes large amount of energy. It is not indestructible, which means as it is not centralized, special services cannot shut down the blockchain. Blockchain is inefficient, as in order to store the blockchain data, the data has to be downloaded. So in some cases, to make or receive payments until the entire download and verification process is complete, we cannot make them. So in that case, it is inefficient and the structure is complex. Finally, to conclude the topic, blockchain is a shared, public, distributed ledger without any concept of centralization. And it is used in many of the applications like governance voting, smart contracts, identity management, intellectual property management, and so on. Thank you. Any queries, please?